Still tracking our high impact storm heading into our Tuesday with heavy rain and snow, possible thunderstorms and dangerous travel into the Sierra. We'll get a bit of a break Wednesday afternoon through Thursday and Friday with some very cold morning temperatures, and then we're right back to the storm action for the upcoming weekend. Playing out what's left of this first storm that's rolling through for the work week here, and you can see the remnants still delivering a big impact through the Sierra with areas of snow, even snow for some of the higher elevations through the coastal range. But we have a lot more off the coast as well, so that's going to continue to feed us with dangerous travel conditions into the Sierra. We've seen basically every Sierra road shut down through today, some of which are still closed even into tonight just because of so much dangerous weather that's developing there with blowing, drifty snow, blizzard-like conditions through the 80-50 corridor along 88, 89, all the way up into the central Sierra as well. 4, 120. All of the major roads have been impacted. You can see some of the snow piling up. This is in Somerset. Oh, I love this face. Alicia sending this photo in there and pretty much says it all. When is this going to end? Well, not quite yet. In Somerset, we saw 2.5 inches of snow. Applegate, 5 inches. Blairsden, 9. Sierra City at 14. And Donner Lake, nearly impossible travel. Whiteout conditions, 13 inches of snow coming in. As far as valley rain, coastal rain, anywhere from about 0.3 of an inch to close to 1/2 inch of rain, slightly over that for some locations. It's been a mixed bag of precipitation for Auburn, Placerville, and even into Jackson for some of our foothill locations. For tonight into early tomorrow, you can see the weather that still develops coming in off the coast with some dangerous travel conditions for the morning commute that will continue through the noontime hour with yet more snow for this year. And that's why we still have multiple warnings that are issued throughout the high country. Snow and travel being on the extremely high impact range. For rain and wind, it's going to be more in the moderate range. Still not a significant risk for flooding. That's something we may have to watch, though, by the time we get into the weekend and into our 10-day forecast, because there's a lot more of this to come. Checking on some of those advisories, watches, and warnings that are still in play. We've got our blizzard warning, winter storm warning, winter weather advisory, all making driving in the Sierra hazardous pretty much through the extension of this storm system that rolls through. It doesn't really start to wind down until Wednesday morning. And that's why major law officials are just saying stay off the Sierra roads at this time with this extreme impact continuing through much of our Tuesday. Things aren't really going to let up all that much. Our blizzard warning, well, that means 3 to 6 feet of additional snow with those wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. It's going to make travel nearly impossible until early Wednesday. We'll continue to see a risk of avalanches as well. For a time, Highway 50 has been having traffic held because they were doing avalanche control to prevent slides from happening and rolling right across Highway 50 headed up towards South Lake Tahoe. Gusts up to gale force winds, high intensity snow making those large avalanches possible through Wednesday. Heading into the lower elevations, we get into our winter storm warning. Again, that continues through Wednesday morning. A little bit lower on the additional snowfall, but still 1 to 2 feet possible. Gusts up to 50 miles per hour and difficult travel. And we're seeing that near Clear Lake, all throughout the coastal range, a little bit closer to the Pacific. And then for the higher elevations of the Bay Area, a winter weather advisory with a wintry mix all the way down to about 2,000 feet, 5 to 12 inches of snow possible until we get to Tuesday afternoon. We're still seeing areas of snow piling up in some of those higher elevations, especially for tonight. Talking about our snowfall, I do want to touch on this just briefly because with all of this snow, a lot of folks have been asking how close are we to average records? Where are we sitting in terms of the snowpack for this year? Because that provides 1/3 of our water supply for the dry months. So here it is broken down for the northern part of the Sierra. We're a little bit below that max of 1982-83. You can see we're at 124 inches. So we're running close to about the 2018-2019 snowpack. And that being true as well for the central Sierra. We're a little bit above that line, but closing in on the max of 1982-83. We're actually above it for the southern Sierra. We continue to see that number climb, and we're getting awfully close to where we're going to peak out for the April 1st average. That's usually when our snowfall tapers off and then we start to see the melt begin. All areas in the Sierra have already met that max. We're at 124 to 190% of that April 1st average. So that's going to put that statewide April 1st average at over 150%. And there's more coming. I mean, this is a winter for the record books. It looks like the way that things are going down right now. As far as our precipitation tracker, this is going to be for Sacramento Executive. A lot of the same monitoring sites are very similar to this as well. For the month, it was a real slow start. We're closing in on about 2 inches of rain. Usually we have almost 3.5 inches of rain at this point, so that's going to put us about 1.5 inches behind where we should be. That's just for this month. Now for the season, things are much better, and that's because of a big start to the water year in December through early January that got us a head start here. So our total is almost 16 inches of rain. We're running about 3 inches ahead of normal. That's pretty much true throughout the entire state. Some areas have just seen unbelievable numbers, especially for South Lake Tahoe, over 10 inches ahead of normal. Southern California looking great as well. Santa Barbara, Los Angeles, San Diego, Palm Springs, we're behind by about 1 inch. And finally, we're starting to see some of the extreme northern parts of the state catching up. Redding was falling behind quite a bit earlier this month. Now about 1/4 inch ahead of where we should be, but Eureka still below about 1.25 inches or so from where we usually are. February is one of our bigger rain months. This is really when we need to maximize our rain and snow. So I know a lot of us are getting a little tired of the damp weather and the cold as well. But after this, things really start to die down and we get into the dry months when we're starting to pull from our reservoirs for our water supply. So how are things looking? Well, we continue to see pretty much the snowpack staying intact. What that means is that not a lot of it is melting and filling our reservoirs right now. Currently, Shasta is about 84% of our historical average, but only 60% full. Oroville 72% full, and Folsom 55% full, but running above where we normally see those at this point in the season. That's true as well for Don Pedro. However, New Melones is only about 76% of where we usually see that reservoir. 45% full. San Luis, which is shared by both the State Water Project and the Central Valley Project, is at 94% of our historical average and right now about 75% full. So we're still looking pretty good in terms of being able to take in all that snowpack. A lot of people have also been asking, okay, there's no way that we're still in drought, but we talked to the Bureau of Reclamation for today, and the drought monitor, all of the state is in some drought category. So really, yes, we are still technically in drought throughout the entire state. The Central Valley Project reservoirs, especially Trinity and Shasta, are below capacity. I just showed you Shasta and where we sit at about 60% of capacity. And since those supply water, hydropower, environmental flows, especially some cold water to move downstream for a lot of our fish, those are technically still in the drought category. So the bottom line is the ongoing drought declared by Governor Newsom in 2021 is still ongoing. However, when we look at projections, it looks like drought possibly will be coming out of parts of the northern parts of the state. So removal likely, and drought remaining, though, right where Shasta sits. It's right here. I know this is really hard to see, but kind of the headwaters here of the Sacramento River. So drought remains but improves. So most of the state, it looks like it's going to persist, especially through Southern California, northern part of the state, which holds 75% of our water supply. Looks like we're going to see some improvement or perhaps removal. That would be if our storm track continues. And the long-range outlook is likely cooler and wetter through the middle of March. And we're seeing that play out right now with just the start of what has kind of opened up our water system again across the Pacific. This low pressure system coming in, it's a cold one. It's dropping a lot of snow, but also some active weather. We saw thunderstorms Monday with pea-sized hail and some heavy rain, some lightning out there. A repeat of that possible into our Tuesday. As far as our winds, those also around any thunderstorms are going to be gusty, but we'll see those winds starting to pick up again tomorrow morning at about 9 a.m. Wind gusts up to about 30 to 35 miles per hour. Everything starts to quiet down by tomorrow evening. That being true of the winds and the rain as well as the snow. Timeline into our Tuesday morning commute. It's a soaker once again throughout the valley. Snow again problematic for the Sierra. Likely we're going to continue to see those shutdowns until this system is out of here completely. Evening commute is also looking pretty active here with the potential of some embedded thunderstorms. Snow will continue for the Sierra, all those Sierra roads impacted until we get to early Wednesday morning. At that point, just a few flurries left over, and then things start to finally quiet down, and we should see the risk of that really extreme weather start to quiet down quite a bit. As far as additional accumulation, about a half an inch to almost an inch of rain by Wednesday morning, and total snowfall will be picking up about 5 to almost 40 plus inches of additional snowfall from what has already fallen in the Sierra. But unfortunately, in the wake of that, we get that really cold air. So the valley temperatures will be falling into the 30s Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday morning. And that's going to put us with some patchy frost and also some chilly temperatures that could damage plants. So we're right back to one extreme to the other. We get the wind and the dangerous conditions in the Sierra, and then right back to that valley frost. Here's a look at the mountain's 5-day forecast. Some dry weather Wednesday, Thursday, Friday into early Saturday. Then things will start to pick up again with areas of snow for the hills as well. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, our best opportunity to get out, run some errands, perhaps get up to the high country to enjoy some of that fresh powder. The weekend not looking so great here. We've got another weather system on the move, and that's going to bring back the chance for rain and snow, and that continues into next week as well.